In this video, I'm going to show you how to create an AI automation which takes information from a form that's been filled out, and then it's going to turn that into a fully customized workout routine. It's going to take trainer recommendations, it's going to have some custom features in, so it can actually try and create a personalized training plan for someone and not just some really generic AI workout plan. So how this video is going to work is I'm going to start with a demo, and then I'm going to show you the full live build so you can see how I built it step by step. So hopefully you enjoy and hopefully you learn something, and I'll see you in the next video. Also, just one more note, throughout the video I was having some issues with the mic, which I only realized after I'd finished the recording. So I'd done the whole video and then I went to listen back to it, and for some reason the mic was glitching. I've worked out the problem now, but I basically couldn't fix it after it had been recorded. So there's a few points where you might hear some glitching sounds. Also during the live demo, both at the end and the one I'm about to show, there was some problems with the microphone as well. So I'm going to do a quick voiceover for certain parts and I'll explain when those parts are. But for the most part, the video is completely fine. There's just a few parts where you might hear some glitching sounds, and sometimes it jumps around a bit where I've had to cut out parts where the microphone has glitched. But hopefully everything still makes sense and hopefully you enjoy the video. Okay, so I've just finished the live build and now I'm going to be showing you how it works. So how it works is we have a form which we've created on Tally, and I've shown how to do this. So this is going to basically take some basic information, the sort of things you might ask to a client or a personal trainer might ask to a client. It's then going to take this form input, compare some of the results. It's going to give a trainer recommendation based on that goal. If they wanted to lose fat, for example, it will use specific advice. After that, what it's going to do is it's going to send all that information, so the information from the form along with the trainer recommendations, to two ChatGPT modules or OpenAI modules. It's going to take the information, and then the first one is going to create week 1 of the training plan, and the second one is going to create week 2 of the training plan. And then finally, once all the information has been made, it's going to put it into a template. So we've created a template here, which has some placeholders. And what's going to happen is that when you fill in the form. Okay, so this is the part where my mic unfortunately cut out. But basically all I'm explaining is that when you fill in the form, it's going to update the document or update the template and basically create a new document, which is going to go into this place in the Google Drive. I was just deleting an old file that I'd made before, so everything's empty. I'm now filling in the form, so I'm going to put some information in for each of the questions, and then once I've put all the information into the form, and then once I've put the information through the form, it's going to go into the scenario, which is going to send the information into both our OpenAI modules, which is going to generate the workout plan, and then finally put it into the document template or update the template, and then it's going to create this workout routine that you see here, which I'm opening now. And you can see now that it's open, it's basically updated with the information from the form. So it's put things like my first name in, things like the training goals and things like that. And then you can see that the sessions have been made. So for week 1, there's 3 sessions, which is what I put in the form. For week 2, we've also got 3 sessions, and it also kind of follows the guidelines. So hopefully all of that makes sense. You can kind of see what I'm going to do. And now I'm going to cut back to the live video so you can see how I made it. Okay, so time for the live build. So hopefully you've just seen the demo and you now know how everything's going to work. And now I'm going to build everything out step by step. I haven't actually built anything out yet. So you're going to be able to see how I do everything, my thought processes, and everything like that. So without wasting any time, I'm going to start off with opening up make.com. Hopefully you are familiar with this. Hopefully you've seen the last video or some other videos. If you're not familiar, make.com is just a platform where you can build out AI automations, and this is where I'm going to be building out the first few automations on this channel, so it's the most beginner friendly. So once you get to this page, when you've made your account, we're going to create a new scenario. I'm just going to call this workout generator or workout plan generator. And then we're also going to want to open up a website called tally.so. And what this is for building out forms. So you could use another website, you could use something like Typeform or Google Forms or any type of form, but I'm just going to be using Tally since it's free and anyone can use it. And we're going to basically be creating a form in here. And then we're going to get our form submission is going to go into our automation, into our make.com. So we get the results in here. Then what we want to do is we're going to want to take those results and find some trainer recommendations, as you hopefully saw in the demo. So that's going to basically be some information which a trainer has recommended based on the information from the form. And then finally, with those trainer recommendations, And with the rest of the information from the form, we're going to get our AI to create a workout plan, and then we're going to put that workout plan into a template that we've made to make everything look nice, professional PDF, which you could give to a client as a personal trainer. So yeah, first thing we'll do is I'll quickly create a form. So let's go new form. We'll call it workout plan, and then we can start from scratch. So how Tally works is once you've created a form, you then insert blocks, and these are basically where you create all your things which are going to be asked in the form. So we have short answers, long answers, multiple choices, all these sorts of things. And using these forms, you can get all the information that you need. So as I'll show you, you can input a short answer, insert, and then you could ask a question like, what is your first name? And then the client will put the answer here. And we're just going to repeat that until we get the whole form. So I'm going to cut until I finish the form. All right, so as you can see, I've now created a bit of a basic form. Normally you'd probably ask a lot more about contact details and stuff, but I've just kept it basic. So we've got what is the first name of the client, how many days a week can they commit to training, what are your training goals, what is your current training experience, are there exercises or movements that you can't do or want to avoid, and then finally any additional notes. So this is a bit of a basic form, but it kind of captures some of the important information. If you were to actually build this for someone, you would want to include more, but I just want to keep it simple. So hopefully all of these questions make sense, the sort of things that you might ask a client if you were going to build a program for them anyway. And now that we've built the form, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to publish it. And then what we're going to want to do after that is we're going to want to go back to our make.com, and then we now want to make it so whenever we submit something in this form, we're picking it up here. So how we're going to do this is we're going to search for the Tally module. And since it has a built-in module, that means it's a lot easier to set up. And what we want to go for is within the modules, we want a watch new responses, which means whenever there's a new response to the form, it's going to get sent over here. So we're going to add that module in. You're going to want to create a webhook, which basically means whenever the form is filled in, you can select your connection, and you can select the form. So we're going to click the one called workout plan, and it means whenever that form is submitted, it's basically going to create a webhook, which means it's going to send all the information here. And you can name it if you want. I'm just going to leave it for now, but we're going to save that, and then we can also test that. So what we can do is we can go back to our form, we can copy the link to fill in the form, then we can fill in the information, and then we want to run the module. So it's actually running because right now it's not running. And this is just going to watch for any form responses. And then now when we click submit, if we go back to our automation, you can see that we've collected the data. So now if we go into here, the things I filled in the form have been basically sent into our make.com automation. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just format all that information we've just got, so it's a little bit nicer to look at. You don't have to do this, but I like to normally do a set multiple variables module. And what we can do here is we can just take all the variables which we got from this module, and we can just set them with a new variable name. So for example, the first name, for example, we can have as first name, and then we map that to the question, what is your first name? Similarly for basically every question, so we can say how many days can you commit to training? We can say days per week. So I'll do that for all of these. So as you can see, I've now mapped all of the variables from the form into here. And then if we were to run this again, we would basically just update all of the values from here into here. And the next thing that we want to do is we want to create a Google Sheet. And the reason we're going to do this is so that when someone submits a form, we can get trainer recommendations based on what is being submitted. So if we weren't to do this step, all you'd be doing is basically putting their form answers straight into ChatGPT. So it's almost the equivalent of someone just typing this information into ChatGPT and asking for a workout plan. But what we're going to do is we're going to also include trainer recommendations, so we can get it actually a bit more personalized, and the trainer who's giving out these workout plans can actually have their own input and kind of follow their own training methods when they're creating these programs. So we're going to first create a Google Sheets. So here is the sheet which I'm going to use, and basically what it's going to have is going to have a column for each of the options that you could pick. So when you ask them about their training experience, they could either say they're a beginner, novice, intermediate, or advanced. For their goals, they could either say they want to build muscle, lose fat, improve strength, or improve general health. And as you can see, for each of these, we have a trainer recommendation, which basically goes alongside it. So for example, I've said that if someone wants to build muscle, then the trainer recommendation could be to focus on hypertrophy training with moderate to heavy weights, 3 to 4 sets of each exercise. And you can change these to whatever you would want, or the trainer could change these to whatever they would want. You could basically say only train legs if someone wants to build muscle, or train legs 4 times a week. As you can see here as well, yeah, we have for each level of training experience, the trainer recommendation can be slightly different. And all we're going to do in our automation is we're going to look and see which one of these has been selected, and then based on whichever one's been selected, it's going to give this as the trainer recommendation. And how we're going to do this is we're going to want to go back into make.com, and we're going to want to get a Google Sheets module. And what we want to do is we want to get a get rows or a search rows. So it's basically going to search our Google Sheet that we've created and find the rows which basically align with a specific filter. And the filter in our case is going to be seeing which answer has been given, seeing if the row in the sheet is equal to the answer that's been given, and then it's going to retrieve that data. So we're going to click on the Google Sheets module. We're going to want to select from the drive. So that's just going to look in your Google Drive for the sheets. In terms of spreadsheet ID, we want to look for the one we made. So this one's going to be called Trainer Recommendations. Sheet name is going to be, we'll start maybe with getting the trainer experience recommendation. So we'll get a recommendation for both. Column range, we'll just kick to A to Z because we're not doing too many columns. And then filter, this is the important part. So this is where we're going to basically make sure that we get the right results. So we want to say the training experience is equal to, and then we're going to say it's equal to the experience that we've got in here. So as you can see here, we've got the training experience is going to be here. This is going to be the as the other variable I made, so I'm going to use this just because it looks nicer. This is the exact same as the form response, which is training experience. So we're going to see if these two things are equal, then it's going to return that row. And then we can limit it to one row if we wanted to, but we've only got one row anyway, so we know that's going to be right. So just to do a quick test before we build this out for the other one as well, what we will do is we will do another form submission. So I'm going to quickly go back into here. So we're going to go into share. We're going to copy the link again, and we'll paste that into a new tab. And again, we'll fill in all of the information. None. And what we'll do is we will have it running, so it's looking for a response, and then we will submit. And as you can see, first of all, we've got the information to here, then we've set all these variables, so you can now see that first name is equal to Tom, days per week is 4, and everything kind of lines up. And then you can also see that we've got one output, which is going to be training experience. So basically this row, which is aligned with advanced, which is what we put in the form. And then we can see the recommendation which we've received is to use high volume with advanced techniques. And if you can go back into here, we can see that for advanced, that's the recommendation that we've given. So what we're going to do with this then is we're going to then, I'll just set the variable once again just to make it look nice. And we'll set this trainer recommendation. We can say is equal to the trainer recommendation from here. And then this is basically just going to, again, make it look a bit nicer. We'll then repeat that for the other sheet. So I'll just go over this quickly. So we're going to, again, search rows. We're going to select the same sheet as before. So we're going to go for trainer recommendations. Sheet name is going to be goal this time because we're looking for the goals. We'll again just lower the column range so we're not just getting a bunch of empty columns returned to us. And then finally for the filter, we're going to say that goal is equal to, and then the goal which we've gotten from the form, which is going to be here, training goal. So you can see here the training goal is lose fat. We can save this, and then this is going to do the same. So I won't run that again right now, but I will show that at the end. And then the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to put all of this information into an AI module. And this is going to basically take the information that we've got so far, so all the form answers, the trainer recommendations, and based off of that, give it a good prompt so it gives us a very detailed 2-week training plan. We're going to want to create a module, and we're going to use the OpenAI module. So this is going to connect to ChatGPT. There are also other modules for other types of AI. So say you wanted to use something like Grok, they also have things for that, or things for Gemini, if you want to use Gemini, but we're going to use OpenAI, and we can use OpenAI. And then the type of module we're going to want to do, you could use just create a model response, but you can get better responses by using this create a chat completion prompt module. And if you watched the last video where I created the Google Calendar, you might already be familiar with this, but I'll go over it again quickly. What we're going to want to do here is we're going to select a model. GPT-5 did just come out, so I've not actually used this yet. So I've not tested it, so I'm going to stick with GPT-4o, but there's a good chance that GPT-5 might actually be an even better option to use once it's been a bit more tested. So I'm just going to start with GPT-4o. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add our messages. So like you saw, if you saw the last video, we start with a system prompt all the time. And this is just telling the AI basically who it is and what it's going to do. I do have these pre-written, so I don't have to write them all out. But in this case, we'll start with something simple, basically just telling it that it is an intelligent personal training program writer. That's just giving it a bit of context as to what it's meant to do. The next one is going to be a user prompt. So this is when you give it a lot more information on what it's actually going to be doing, the actual specific use case. So again, I've written this out in advance, but I will go through it with you. So as you can see, we've got the prompt here, and it's basically just saying you are a professional personal in the information from a client intake form and trainer guidance, help create week 1 of a detailed 2-week workout plan tailored to the client's needs. And I'm just going to do this in 2 parts so you don't overwhelm the AI, have it trying to create too much in one and making confused. So it's going to do 1 week with one AI, and the second AI is going to create the second week. Please make sure you take into consideration all the information you are given. The program must not include any restricted exercises. It should also follow the personal trainer's advice and must contain the same number of sessions as specified, otherwise you will be fired. And the reason for saying something like this is basically just to make the AI take it more seriously. It's going to make sure it definitely follows this instruction. It's also saying to take into consideration how many sessions there are and their training goals. Each session should contain a list of exercises. Each exercise should have a number of sets, reps, and weight. And this is basically just going to tell it how to format it. Again, you could change this depending on how you want the output formatted. Do not include any introduction and output in the following format. So yeah, basically this is just telling it how it needs to create the training plan. Finally, we need to give it the information that it's actually going to work with. So we'll do one final prompt, again, a user prompt, which is going to have the information on the client, so the information we're going to give to the AI. So these are all the things we've got from the form. So you can see we've got first name, sessions per week, training exercise. And we're also going to add the additional notes. So we can do that here. And what we're doing is, we're just going into this menu and we're selecting the variables which have already been set and just saying that whatever this variable is, so whatever first name is, which is going to be what's put in the form, be the first name that the AI receives. And then finally, we also want to include the trainer recommendations or trainer advice. And then we can put in both the trainer recommendations, which are going to be here. And I also realized I forgot for the second trainer recommendation to put that into a set variable, but it's the same. We can just take the trainer recommendation from here. It's going to be the same. So these are going to be our 2 pieces of trainer recommendation. And then with all of this, the AI has now got all of the information that it needs. So now if we run the whole scenario, what we should get is all the form information being passed through and then the workout plan being generated in the format we asked for in this AI module. So we're going to have a quick try at that now. So we'll go back into our form, we'll copy the submission link again, we'll fill in the information, we'll just maybe change some things. Let's say can only do 3 days a week, so it should only give me 3 basically sessions per week. What are your training goals? Let's say lose fat. We'll see how it changes the recommendations. What is your current training experience? We'll say maybe let's say complete beginner. And are there any exercises you can't do? I guess we'll try this. Let's say can't do bench press, so it should avoid bench press. And additional notes, we can say none. But yeah, if we submit again, we can see it's once again being sent through. We're collecting all the information and then we're sending it to our AI, which is now going to think for a second. It's going to return a result. It's giving us session 1, 2, and session 3. As we said, lose fat, we're getting a lot of recommendations basically based on how you would lose fat. So we can see we're getting a bit more stationary bike, walking on the treadmill, things like that. And we're also saying light weights for everything, more reps. And you can also see we've avoided using the bench press. As we said, we can't use the bench press, and it's avoided that. So the next thing to do is quickly create a second module like this, which is going to create week 2 of our 2-week training program. And then what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to take all these training programs and put them into a template so it fills out a nice looking document. So our person that we're working with actually has a nice looking workout plan rather than just some long list of exercises like it's currently doing. So what we can actually do is we can clone this module. So this is going to basically just recreate, I think I just clicked on copy by mistake, but we can clone. So we can create the exact same module. So this is going to have all the same prompts. The only difference now is we're going to want to change it. So instead of creating week 1, it's going to create week 2. We're also going to want to tell it to keep in mind what happened in week 1. So I would say maybe a good place to put it would be here. We'll say take into consideration the exercises from week 1. The training program should flow nicely from one week to another and not just repeat exercises. So say, for example, in our case where we're making 3 sessions per week, if we were having maybe an upper body day and a lower body day, you don't want it to do upper body, then lower body, then upper body for week 1. And then when it goes to week 2, it just repeats upper body as the start. It's going to take that into consideration and it's going to go straight back to lower body. And then what we're going to want to do is we're also going to want to give it the information on what actually happened in week 1. So we can say week 1 of program, and then we can put in the result. So now it's going to know what happened in week 1. So now that we're getting our whole workout plan generated, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to put this into a nicely formatted document. So we're going to want a template, and we're going to want to go to Google Docs for this, and we're going to create a document from a template. So to do this, we're going to first need a template. I've already created one in this case, so I'll show you that now. So as you can see, here is the template. And what's important here is we have these placeholders. So these are the things you see here where we have curly brackets either side of a value. As you can see, for each of these, we put that in here. And what this is going to mean is that when we give a value to this in our automation, it's going to fill or replace basically these curly bracket values with the value from the automation, which is going to make more sense in a second. So now that I have this template, I can go into my workout plan generator. I can select the one that I want to go into. So I can go into, I believe I called it workout plans, and then it's going to be a copy of template. So you can go into wherever you saved it and select the file name. Then what we're going to do is we're going to want to see that all the values here that we put inside of brackets. So for example, we have name, we have training exp. All of these values then come up in here, and that's what's going to basically be updated in the new document we create. So what we can say is we can say that name is going to be equal to the first name, training experience, same as training experience, goals is going to be the same as our goals, and so on. So sessions per week. And then again with 1 and 2, those are going to be the 2 results we got. So the first ChatGPT gave us week 1, the second one gave us week 2. And then this is going to basically create a file. So we need to also create the name. So let's say workout plan for the first name. So let's again go back here. We can say workout plan for, in this case, it would say workout plan for Tom is the title. And then the location, again, we can select a folder. I'll go again into my workout plans folder, and I've created a generated plans folder. So we can just put it in here. And then finally, when we run the whole thing one more time, what it's going to do is it's going to update everything in here and create a new document, which is going to have the templates. So yeah, we'll finish off by doing one more demo basically. And yeah, unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, my mic also was having a lot of issues during this demo. I'm not really sure why. For some reason, it doesn't seem to like me doing the live demos. But all I'm doing here is I'm filling out the form again. So I'm picking some different options to what I did before, and it's sending that information through to the GPT modules and now into the document. So it's going to turn the template into a document. You can now see when we go into the folder, it's created a new document. And then similar to what I showed in the demo at the start of the video, it's basically filled in all the information that we put into the form. It's created our custom week 1 and week 2 training plans. And then I'm also just mentioning that, as you can see, my responses are kind of based off of what I put in the form. So we've got no squats being mentioned. Obviously, it could be better. To make it better, you'd have to put more time into writing the prompt. This was just a quick prompt, but you can kind of get the general idea of how this works. So yeah, hopefully everything was okay. Sorry for the mic issues in this video. Like I said, they will be fixed for future videos. This was just an unfortunate one-off. I've now got a proper mic, so I won't have that issue again. But yeah, hopefully you found this video helpful, and I will see you in the next video.